Hello there. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to yet another iRacing video here. We are here with the Wilver Racing series as always. This time in Discord as well. So we're going to be hanging out here with the lads here. See how well we can do. It's going to be an awesome race. I can guarantee you that much. Once again, we're looking to continue our racing career, and we're looking to do good damage this time around here. Obviously, this time we've got a little bit of a tough matchup ahead of ourselves here. That's okay. Once again, participating in the same series as we usually do. So far, it's been quite an enjoyable experience, I have to be honest. Some good racing so far. This race obviously being included in one of those as well. It's really awesome to see. Now, the support on the channel has been amazing as well. You guys have enjoyed, because I most definitely have. So once again, our best here this time around Road America. This long track, it's a little bit over 6 kilometers long. It's one of the tracks that we are addressing in the TCR cars as always. This time obviously not an iRacing series, more of a community series. I think we're gonna do awesome. I think that's a guarantee at that point. It has been an absolute pleasure so far to do the commentating for you. This time we're in the Audi as always. We've got our custom livery on. We're looking to try our hardest to get out there and do well. To do so, time will tell. Ready, pushing up here. Looking to get out there and looking to do quite a bit of damage here. So far we are all good, and we're trying to move here down the inside, but we gotta be careful. We didn't qualify, so we are starting a little bit further back here, fortunately for us. And that is just a consequence this time round. There's not much else that we can do to it, I'm afraid. How well, it's part of racing, and it doesn't really matter. We'll have plenty of opportunities to try and overtake, plenty of opportunities to try and win here also. So we'll see how it goes. So for the support on the channel has been awesome as well. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I'm just trying to do our best to provide consistent content with for you guys, and see what you guys have been able to do. Of support on the video, it's very much appreciated. This time though, we're in P10 at the start here over in America. We're looking to put in the best results that we possibly can. If that's actually going to happen, well, time will tell, of course. But so far, it's been a good race so far. Obviously, it's all about that clean start, which we have all gotten, to be fair. There haven't been many incidents so far, which is good to see. See, this time as well, quite far to catch up to. It's where we're starting at the back, unfortunately for us. It's definitely not helping us achieve the most optimal results. But, well, that is just how it is sometimes, and we can't really help that, I'm afraid. There's no car ahead already. We're seeing it's quite intense once again. We're seeing some drivers come off early, and we'll get some overtakes done in the beginning at least, which is a good sign usually. This time the lap time's looking a lot smoother as well. It's really a good lap coming out from us here in the beginning. An incident ahead has been called as well, so we're getting into not necessarily trouble, but it's definitely quite intense racing so far. As we keep going at the moment, we are all good for A bit of a faster lap around. It is quite intense, obviously. This time around as well, we've got a longer race ahead here with a setup that is actually free to our own choice this time around. We are able to choose whether we want to go for late pit stop, early pit stop. We're able to change our setup. It's a lot more free compared to what we usually do, which is usually the fixed setup series over which iRacing offers themselves. So you're seeing that we're able to utilize that, and we are able to make a car completely to our liking in terms of setup. As long as we can change it in the setup menu, we can change it in game, which is really awesome to see. This time around, you'll notice as well, we've got a little bit of a bigger field compared to last time, which obviously really helps. This time we've got a lot more competition. Makes for some extra good racing. And sure, it's all going to be difficult, we know that, but that's alright. We're looking to push it to the absolute limit as always. Obviously, this time we've had a little bit more practice time compared to our holiday races, where we just got home from Greece, then immediately getting into the racing. It's obviously a little bit more intense, right? And that's quite normal, I'd say. It's definitely a part of how this just usually goes, and can't really be too harsh on it. I mean, sometimes you just need a small break, you know. Hard needed break was maybe just what we needed to try and come back with some stronger pace as well. We've got a big fight ahead of us here, and it's getting a little bit more intense here. There's some drivers going left, right, and center. So far so good, most definitely. We've had some intense racing so far, and it has been incredibly fun to watch as well. We see as well it's getting quite intense. We're going a little bit too wide, unfortunately. This small mistake, but we managed to recover it nicely, so that's a good sign. Obviously, that's going to help us out in the long run. The fact that we didn't crash there is going to be quite beneficial to us, because that could have gone really, really wrong. Now the call is push, push, push. We're to get out there and do our best here in these quite, well, dare I say, exotic races. Obviously, we've come together on Australian servers together with the Wilver Racing lads, which is a community based in the Oceania region. And so we are based in Germany as well, so we're definitely feeling the ping at this. But now it's definitely playable still. It's obviously a lot better than, for example, let's say a shooter game, but you will feel it most definitely. That's right, you know, that's part of life, and somehow we've ended up in a community. It's been very fun since, so I guess we can't really complain. This time as well, interestingly enough, we're seeing some of these drivers have some pretty good skill levels as well, pretty high compared to what we're used to racing against. So it's a good opportunity for us to learn as well. In fact, it most definitely is. As we're all good at the moment here, I'm pretty curious to see how this one's gonna go. We're trying to push it here to the absolute limit. And so far we have definitely gotten there as well. We're having a couple moments here where we've gone off or anything like it. But I guess that's part of the game. Obviously in this position where we started all the way at the back is most definitely not terrible. I think that's safe to say. So the problem for us is mainly that we've had our fair share of moments where it was quite intense thanks to some incidents that we had, and I guess that is just part of racing, of course, but well, it is quite frustrating. In the end, it's all good, and just try and push it to the absolute limits whenever we can. And this time, we are seeing some drivers pitting early as well. It's going to push up our position rather nicely, although it is not immediately a big threat. Obviously, it does allow us to go for some overcuts in the near future as well. As meanwhile, we're going to be trying to push up to the Honda of Shane Mooring. I think we've been behind for a while now. So far, so good. What I find most interesting here as well is that these drivers obviously have a lot more experience. Yeah, we're able to keep up the pace. If we look at the last 5 laps average, we're actually not that far off some of the most experienced drivers, which is really good to see. Definitely showing that we do have that potential in the end, which is also a great way for us to see that we're actually getting those improvements in. So it has been a quite long story so far, obviously getting into sim racing together with his brother. That was Yamatis back then. We did a little bit of Assetto Corsa Competizione back then. You guys might have remembered that actually. Later on, obviously, I moved to iRacing. The other one quit completely to get into chess, which is also completely valid, of course. You gotta do whatever you find fun. And in this case, I guess the priorities were a little bit different per person. Obviously, Sven's still going very strong. At the moment, he's definitely been showing some improvement as well, right? In the Roman series, he's had a good amount of moments where he was moving rather rapidly, and obviously there were some intensive moments as well, but that's all part of the game. But it definitely hasn't been flawless, and I think this race demonstrates as well. We are losing pace compared to the drivers ahead of us here. It's of course completely okay, but we would love to get in a little bit more deep if we could. Now we see as well that some drivers ahead of us are pitting now, and that's going to allow us to move the position ever so slightly, at least temporarily. Right? It's not permanent at all, and we know it's not going to be. We're behind pitting now as well, so more drivers around us that are going for those pit stops. Some drivers worried about black flags too. We're not. We're up to P5 at the moment, and we're looking to push it to the absolute limit. And whenever we do so, we will make sure make it as difficult as possible here for the drivers to try and do well. It's always going to be intense, and so far, a good race. 17 minutes left to go, so we're roughly halfway through the race at this point. We're feeling quite good about it, I'd say. I mean, we have been staying clear of the majority of the drivers. We've seen some drivers go off as well into the background, but overall it's been quite okay. Obviously, this time around as well, we're looking for opportunities to try and get closer, seeing what we can do. I mean, that's I think just the main takeaway from this, right? You do have plenty of opportunities to try and do well, and so far we most definitely have as well. But there's still plenty to fight for. We're obviously not out of it yet this race. We got plenty of things that we can do to try and get in a little bit closer. And so far the racing has been really good, I have to be honest. Well, it's definitely been far from clean. It's cleaner than the open lobbies, of course, that we're usually participating in. Although I do need to say, I was perhaps expecting it to be a little bit more chaotic at times as well. Now, obviously, the race is far from over. In fact, we've still got roughly halfway to go. We haven't passed the halfway mark yet. As we keep it going here, we've got so much potential. I think as well, it's a bit late. We're going to be very temporarily up into the higher marks here, potentially even reaching P1, P2 at some point. Now, if that's actually beneficial, don't really know. Obviously, it does allow us to kind of race and clean air the entire time, which is currently what we're doing. Trying to catch Shane Mooring. He is roughly 3.5 seconds off pace right now, which is definitely not good, but definitely not terrible either. Should be able to catch up, especially if he makes a mistake just like that. That is the golden opportunity. He's going to lose out so much here in this Honda Civic. We are able to go completely straight through. And oh man, that's quite devastating, I'd say. Now it's all okay. We push to the limits and then we'll see what comes of it. 1.3 seconds now. He is still definitely shaking it under those pressure. You can see that he's not having a great time here. Now, as we keep it going, we've been a little bit slower ourselves, actually. We are not even that clear of the drivers behind at this point. Definitely feels like it, but obviously we've still got to pit in, so... This is obviously intense, but oh well. It's just how it is, and... We've got... Once again, a good lap coming out from us here, and see on the other side, we can't really say the same. Shane has had a, well, not a nightmare lap, and he's going to decide to come in there, and that's a good sign, I think. At least for him, this makes a lot of sense, right? He will be pushing it to the limits. Now he might be able to do so pressure-free, but it's going to allow us to open up an attempt here over on the overcut. Once he comes back in, that's where we got to see where we end up. I mean, that's where it's getting a little bit more intense, of course. At the moment we're doing pretty good. We're up into P2, even though we know it's only temporary, of course. But we will have more opportunities to try and make up some more spots later on, I think, in the race. As obviously some drivers will be coming out ahead of us here, out of the pits. So we'll see how it goes. We've got so much to do. At the moment, it's all looking alright, though. It's been quite intense racing, and that's once again what Wilver Racing is pretty well known for, right? They've got their stuff together. David Choke's gonna get in a position over Michael Ferguson for the time being, at least here. So there's plenty of racing going on. We'll see as well that some groups are going to start forming eventually, especially now, I believe, with number 6 and 7 coming out. I feel like that group might form itself, and we're going to come in and probably fit in right between the middle of that group, seeing how long the pits have taken so far. Heart rate's still high up, and it's not really slowing down, so definitely well invested into the sim racing experience at this point here. And I was taught a very valuable lesson today Obviously, they're not real cars, they're not real tracks, they're all just pixels in the end, but they are real people. So we gotta make sure that we race it hard, but also clean. Now, it's especially important in communities like this as well, where you know the drives a little bit better. In the end, keep in mind there is just a human behind the screen. That's, I think, a good lesson that I've learned during my own sim racing sessions. Coming up the hill again, you really don't notice the elevation of the track as well as much in this fashion. It reminds me almost of Catwell Park, especially considering that it is quite a tight circuit. There's not a lot of space for cars to go wheel to wheel, which is usually a sign that you see with British tracks, I'd say, mainly. Especially the former airfield tracks, they usually are quite narrow. Now coming into the pits to serve a mandatory pit stop here. As we make it in, that's where we really got to pay attention to the track map here. Who's going to overtake us and where are we going to end up? Well, now almost everyone's pitted. So we will see that there will be some overtakes, but probably a decent stint from us. This is what it felt like.
Where are you going, Harley?
I'm stopping on the right.
Just a bit of ticky touring, you know.
Jesus.
It's not easy, Harley. You can use the roads.
As we, I mean, we're seeing them come in over on the straight here. And when could we get going and where are we getting involved in the action? You gotta see as well, there's quite a few nice groups forming here. So racing is all getting a little bit more compact from this point on. Here we immediately lose the position to a driver pitting, which we will then overtake back again, of course. Here we're going. We are once again off here. We see that the DHL Hyundai ahead of us getting out ever so slightly. And now look in the mirrors. Look at how close we are. And not anymore, as Shane Mooring immediately makes a mistake. So we will gain the position at least there. We're back into P6. And we have the potential to move up. But you can see that it's getting a little bit more intense here as the driver behind us is completely gone. The driver ahead of us made a little bit of a mistake. Went a little bit too wide, and I guess that's just how it is sometimes. Obviously, it's part of racing, right? You can't really help it, but it is a shame. We would have loved to see a little bit more fighting through the driver towards the back. Maybe he'll be able to catch up, as he is doing similar lap times as us. Time will tell, of course, how that one plays out. It's all about consistency in the end. As a wise man once said, I'm being very inspirational today. To finish first you have to finish, and I think that's a great mindset as well. Definitely one that we've adopted rather well. We are staying quite risk averse, while still racing hard from time to time. Especially in the beginning of the race. We tend to get a little bit more loose towards the end. We're willing to take those risks then to try and gain the last position just before time's over. As at the moment we're finding ourselves in a nice little group here. Two big groups, the first one being the top 4, and then it's number 5 to 8. Obviously that's given that the drivers from P1 to P4 are a little bit closer to each other for the time being here. But we have that potential. The driver ahead of us is currently on 3 seconds, the driver behind us is roughly on 5, but 1 or 2 mistakes and it could just be that you're racing each other wheel to wheel again, and I think that might just happen later on as well. From the drivers behind us, though, they are a little bit slower, I wanted to say, but that all depends on where you look at it. I mean, Jamie Jarrett has put up some consistent lap times, but not that fast, especially if you compare it to Dwayne Lee, who was actually the fastest lap of the race as well. Has been struggling ever so slightly since, so quite intense, but we're still involved in the action in P6. I guess that's quite good. Some good racing that we're seeing here, of course. As we come at it here, we've got ever so slightly more than 6 minutes remaining. are now really driving in no man's land, it feels like. You feel so far away, even though you can still see him. And that's when they turn a corner, then they're gone for just a slight moment. It gives you motivation to keep pushing, right? You have to take a little bit more risk to try and get closer up, right? You need to push to the absolute limits if you want to really get fighting with him. And it feels like he's been a little bit slower than he should have been through there, so it's cost him roughly a second. We are now pushing him. Still 2 seconds away, however, so we've got a long way to go. Definitely this DHL delivery car. It's been quite good competition so far. Charles obviously ahead of us in the standings as well for now, so we'll see what happens after this. And we can overtake them, that's always good. Obviously this season doesn't last forever, but that is just how it is, and we're going to try to do our best. I mean, at the time that I'm recording this, I think Formula 1's a perfect example of why every point counts, right? It's just after the Sao Paulo 2024 Grand Prix. And as we're currently P6 here, we're really showing that we do have that potential. And then once again, feels like the car ahead of us is just crawling through at the moment. We're getting closer and closer. We've got the gap up to a little bit over a second now. We might be able to get it within a second rather soon. And in fact, there it is. I don't know what it is with AUDI RS, but he seems to be struggling to get the car going the way that he wants to. New fastest lap coming in for us here, so we're getting those personal improvements at a crucial time coming in here. Once again, he's cut across ever so slightly here, and that's allowing us to change up. The driver behind us has just lost the position as well. He's now down to P8. That's Dwayne Lee. Jamie Jarrett has taken over his position, and he has been a little bit faster this entire time. There's another mistake here being made by AUDI RS. Now we will be able to go side by side. Hard to the right. Gotta stay on our line here. But we are completely past here. Now it's clear as well. Now he's really got to go for a bold dive to make it through. And actually, that's exactly what he's done here. We keep it on the line. We keep it within the track. And he's just forced to back off. And now we're just going to make sure we defend our line. And he's done for. Yeah, exactly. And that is another position gain. There's a compliment as well from Marley coming out. Nice one, Sven. I agree, it's a good move coming out here. 3 minutes left to go. Sitting where we are on the grid, we're going to be seeing that we will be getting a little bit of a push to try and keep going for at least one, probably more 2 laps though. P5, I guess, is a good position to be in at the moment. We're leading the group here. Obviously, there's 2 groups that we're involved with at the moment here. There is the group from 1st to 4th, which is kind of too far out of reach, I'm afraid. And there's the other one too. It's the group which is 5th to 8, which is the group we're currently leading here. And the DHL car still pushing it to the limit. We're not there yet, of course. And now, I would say we're doing quite okay. But it's all right. We're getting in that potential. So far, it's all good, but it's getting really intense.
But I don't know this track at all.
Now we've got just ever so slightly an opportunity to try and stay where we are, perhaps even push up a little bit further, but it is just a matter of creating a gap now and making sure we make it towards the end. That is the main objective from this point on.
Yeah, 122. Well, what have got one?
We'll see what happens afterwards, but so far it's been a good race. I gotta be honest, it's been very spectacular. And awesome to see, most definitely.
I'll just start catching Tim and then I'll fucking chuck it off the track on a corner. Get it up to 0.8 and then fucking back down again.
As we do push it here, we do still see Harley in our rear mirrors as well, but it's going to be a good result for us, most likely, at least if everything stays according to plan from this point on. We need to make sure we push it. And we touch a little bit of the curb and the grass as well, but that doesn't matter in the end. Left side here, desperate attempt for him to try and push through, but he's not able to do so, but he stays alongside. Here we go, now we feel the need of lifting, we're gonna lose one, and now we're slower through there as well, and immediately the opportunity is taken as well. The other Audi to push through. That is beyond frustrating to say the least. That was the opportunity to try and push it further. Now, well, even though that's been costly, it's just how it is sometimes. And oh man, we're fighting for it hard at this point.
That's the only way that you can make fast spinners to push people over.
And now as well, we are desperately trying to hold on to our position. We might try and gain it back here, but we also got to look at the rear mirrors. Mistake being made on the left side. That is a free position. Oh, that came at such a good timing. I have to be honest, that is awesome.
Definitely think I would have had a better result if I fucked up a bit later. But Audi's work, so
Once again, the call being made. We're losing on the car in front, but well, that's just how it is. And now, well, wheel damage as well. We're so close, and that was a big send as well. That's gone really, really wrong here. Yeah, well, for us, doesn't really matter. I'm not so certain. It is a super messy race so far, and it's shown on all sides. That's a track cut, unfortunately for us. And as we're getting towards the end here, we do see we're almost there. The track cuts have come out for us, but so far it's no big damage done, luckily for us. Still trying to push it to the limits. You can see as well it's getting really chaotic out there. Pulling away from the car behind is now the call being made. We still stay in it. We should be able to finish up the race in P6 here. Don't mind the scoreboard that still says P7. That's definitely not the case. We'll be overtaking him because he's currently in the pits. So that's why. It's a little bit weird that way, but well, it doesn't matter too much. Now, well, as we reach the checkered flag, we're P6 towards the end. They're definitely not bad. We did really well. It's a good result here over in the midfield. I'd say that is one of our best results so far. And definitely a chaotic race at that as well, but that doesn't matter too much. Yeah, the lockup there in the end really very exciting towards the end. As we make our way through to the pits, I think it's time to celebrate, because that's a good position we'll be starting off, and it's a great sign of how well it's been so far.
Thanks everybody for turning up.
And as we're making it through the final corners here, it's time for us to wind down as well, because it's been a really good journey so far, which I also gotta say, thank you guys so much for watching so far. It's been an absolute pleasure providing the commentary, and I am very glad that I'm able to be a part of it. It's always good to see. Now, obviously, it is maybe not necessarily the most exciting race series this sometimes, but I think it's definitely got its charms, you know, because when you're actually getting into the racing involved, I think there's no series that comes through it. Obviously, racing with a couple of friends is always a little bit more fun than it is with randoms, and I think that's definitely shown this race as well. It's been intense. In the end, I think we got the better of it this time. Next time might be different, who knows, but for now we'll definitely celebrate, get the champagne out, and see what we can do the next time. So far it has been absolutely awesome. Now obviously there is only one thing left to do, and that's make it back into the pits. We always like to finish up the last lap, even though it doesn't matter for a safety rating this time around, not in this league at least, as compared to the other official iRacing ones.
Oh, really?
Here we come then. We're coming back into the pits, and that's also going to mark the end of the video. Now once again, a friendly reminding as well that if you're liking the content so far, make sure you like and subscribe. So far it's been awesome. We've had some videos reach over 8,000 views, which is a damn lot, I gotta be honest. Which is awesome to see. As we park up the car here, it's time to have a look at the standings here, just so you get an idea of how things are running right now, as we're gonna do quite good for the championship this time around. There it is. We again up. We're ahead of Jamie Jarrett, who finished behind us as well, which is good. David Chalk is next up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, we'll be back for the series as well. And until then, have a very, very pleasant evening.